So perhaps the best free-to-play deck from the newest box will be Starry Night. Well, this deck aims to destroy your opponent's cards over and over and over again by summoning specifically Starry Night, Starry Dragon from your hand again and again and again. Starry Night, Starry Dragon has the effect when it is normal or special summoned from the hand, you can target one card on the field and destroy it. It is not once per turn, so as long as you have enough resources to keep summoning this card, you can pop multiple cards within the same turn using this effect alone. And because we're playing 2 copies of it, we can potentially summon 2 during your opponent's turn and pop 2 cards. And it also cannot be destroyed by battle with a dark monster or by a dark monster's effect, so this is a bit niche, but it can come up if you're facing against a dark deck. Once per turn at the start of damage step, if this card attacks an opponent's monster, you can banish that opponent's monster until the end phase, and then this card can make a second attack in a row. So this effect is a bit like Photon Dragon's effect, but only works when you're attacking, and also it also allows you to attack one more time. So it is a really good offensive tool. So when you're destroying cards with the first effect of Starry Dragon, you will want to prioritize your opponent's back row first, because it can banish your opponent's monsters when it is battling. Our main searcher is Starry Night Rael. When it is normal summoned, you can add a Starry Night spell or trap from your deck to your hand, and the spell and trap cards we are playing are really good. It is really important for our deck to actually let us consistently spam our Starry Dragon, so this will help with that. And also it has a graveyard effect. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target a Starry Night monster in your graveyard to special summon it. While this won't trigger the effect of Starry Dragon because it is not technically a Starry Night monster, it has the K, Starry Night with a K, and Starry Dragon does not have a K in the name, so it cannot special summon Starry Dragon, but you can special summon the other Starry Night level 4 monsters to use their effects. Speaking of which, Starry Night Astel, it has a quick effect to tribute a light monster you control and special summon a level 7 light dragon type monster from your hand. So you might notice that all Starry Night cards don't specifically summon Starry Night Starry Dragon, it only special summons level 7 light dragon type monsters. But this is the best one we have, so we will still be using it to summon this card. And you can banish this card from your graveyard and target one level 7 light dragon type monster you control. It gains 1000 attack. So it can boost its attack if it cannot beat over your opponent's monster. But this Starry Dragon has a banish effect anyway, so this effect will only be useful if you're trying to deal enough for lethal. And Starry Night Flammel. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can send this card from your hand or face-up field to the graveyard to special summon a level 7 light dragon type monster from your hand. So this is a really good hand trap. It also works from your hand to discard itself to special summon your Starry Dragon when your opponent tries to attack you. So it is a great defensive option to pop a card during the battle phase. And it also has a graveyard effect that recycles level 7 light dragon type monsters by banishing itself. So if your opponent destroys your Starry Dragon, you can use that effect to get it back to your hand. And for the spells and traps, we are playing 2 copies of Starry Night Balefire. We're not playing free because this is a free-to-play version. If you have free, you will definitely want to play free. So this card is a Searcher. It adds a Starry Night monster or a level 7 light dragon type monster from your deck to your hand. And if you control no monsters and your opponent controls a dark monster, you can then special summon a level 7 light dragon type monster from your hand. So if your opponent is unfortunately playing a dark deck, you can use this single card to special summon Starry Dragon and use its effect to pop a card. So a really good starter, and it can also be searched using Rael. which makes this really consistent. Our second spell is Starry Night Ceremony. It is a continuous spell card. During your main phase, you can reveal a light fairy type monster in your hand, and if you do, add a level 7 light dragon type monster from your deck to your hand, and then place a reveal card on the bottom of your deck. So this card is another way you can search your Starry Dragon other than the Balefire. It also returns your light fairy type monsters if you have extras. And it has a really good second effect. When your opponent activates any card or effect, you can special summon a level 7 light dragon type monster from your hand. So it gives you an additional way to summon your big dragon. When your opponent tries to use an effect, you can just chain this effect, special summon your Starry Dragon, and then pop a card. Really useful. Starry Night Sky is our field spell. We are only playing a single copy because we don't need too many of it. And it is not that important compared to the other Starry Night spells and traps. It says during your main phase, you can normal summon a Starry Night monster or a level 7 light dragon type monster in addition to your normal summon or set. So this allows you to spam more low level Starry Night monsters, or in very specific situations, you can tribute summon your level 7, but I won't recommend you do that unless maybe all of your monsters are negated or flip face down, then you might want to use that to summon your high level monsters. During your turn, if a face-up level 7 light dragon type monster you control returns to your hand, you can draw a card. So this card lets you recover some of the card advantages. When you use your cards to special summon your Starry Dragon, it allows you to draw a card back to refill your hand. And our final Starry Night spell and trap is our continuous trap, Starry Night Arrival. So this is a really good trap that gives you another way to special summon your Starry Dragon. It has two effects. You can only choose one per turn. The first one says target a level 7 light dragon type monster you control and return it to your hand. And the second is special summon a level 7 light dragon type monster from your hand. So this card allows you to constantly return back your Starry Dragon from your field to your hand, and then summon back it again and pop another card. So ideally, you will want to use the special summon effect during your opponent's turn. So you activate this card, you special summon your Starry Dragon, you pop a card during your turn. After you attack, you return that card back to the hand, and then do it all again next turn. And we are only playing 3 copies of non-Starry Night cards in our main deck, and that is Ruins of the Divine Dragon Lords. So you can technically play any staple that you have in this spot, but for this free-to-play deck, I like to play this card, because what this card does is, if a monster is special summoned except from the graveyard while you control a level 7 or 8 dragon type monster, that monster has its effect negated until the end of this turn. So basically, this is a skill drain when you have Starry Dragon on your field. So if you can't summon multiple Starry Dragons during your opponent's turn, maybe you can only summon once, then you can use it to pop one card, and then use the continuous effect of Divine Dragon Lords to have your opponent's monsters negated. It is really cool. And it is really good that this card is absolutely free to obtain. If you check how this card can be obtained, you can use this card from Mokuba's Level Up Rewards. Both versions also have this card available. And it also has a not very useful second and third effect, but it may come up sometimes. It says once per turn you can send one other face-up card you control to the graveyard to special summon a token. While sometimes you can use this effect to make more materials on your field for a tribute summon or a link summon. It also has a recycle effect. In case your opponent destroys it, you can always send a level 7 or 8 dragon type from your hand or face-up field to your graveyard to return this card from your graveyard to your hand. But you won't want to use this effect that often because you don't want to send Starry Dragon to the graveyard. Anyway, for our extra deck, you can play whatever you want because this deck doesn't really use the extra deck that much. But it's always good to have some generic options like free-to-play Link package and some rank 4 Xyz monsters because this deck uses a lot of rank level 4 monsters. So we can use the new Giant Hand, it is a really good monster negate. Or we can use Dreadnought to summon a copy of Super Quantum Mech King from our extra deck directly for more disruption. But these are all optional, you don't need this for the deck to work, it's just there just in case. And for the skill, honestly you can play whatever skill you want because this deck doesn't really need a skill. I like to play Mind Scan because Mind Scan allows you to look at your opponent's set cards, including monsters and spells and traps, as long as your life points are 3000 or higher from the 3rd turn and onward. So if this skill is active, you can check your opponent's set back row and you'll know exactly which cards to pop with Starry Dragon. So that is the deck, let's hop into the duels. When you play this deck, obviously you will want to prefer going first because this deck has a lot of in-archetype disruption in Starry Dragon. All the cards help you special summon it during your opponent's turn. So if you go first and you have your entire field set up, you can always just pop whatever card your opponent tries to put on the field. And okay, now we're going to second, so let's first activate Starry Night Ceremony. So if our opponent activates a card or effect, we can just immediately summon Starry Dragon. Anyway, even if our opponent doesn't use an effect, we can always use the effect of Astel to special summon a copy of Starry Dragon. So, that doesn't really matter too much. But if he activates an effect right now, I can use the effect of Ceremony's first effect to shuffle back Astel to get a second copy of Starry Dragon. So I can have 2 of them live during our opponent's turn. That would be really interesting, but we will wait our opponent to see if they have anything to activate. Okay, they activate MST, that is a bit of a problem, because, yeah, it is now destroyed, but it is still fine. We can use the effect of Astel, and then tribute itself to special summon Starry Dragon. And Starry Dragon can pop a card, don't pop itself. And then we can activate the Ruins of the Divine Dragon Lords as a skill drain. It's really good. We can boost the attack of Starry Dragon with the Graveyard effect of Astral, just for extra damage, and then we can set Arrival for disruption. So now we have a disruption in card pop and a skill drain, and that's kind of really good for a free-to-play deck if you think about it. And we also have a 3500 attack monster on our field, so it's not easy for a lot of decks to beat over on deck. And also, since it's turn 3, we can see our opponent's set cards. Okay, our opponent has a sealed Hex Sealed Fusion, so let's use Arrival to bounce back a copy of Starry Dragon back to the hand so we can summon it during our next turn. Okay, now we don't really need a second copy, but we have lethal anyway, because now we can use the second effect of our trap to summon back our Starry Dragon and then pop our opponent's set card. So that is essentially how the deck works, is you constantly bounce back Starry Dragon, summon it back, pop a card, and if you have Ruins, you can have an extra skill drain. But for free-to-play decks, it is pretty good. Anyway, we can use Balefire, get the Spell and Trap Searcher, and then we can summon our Spell and Trap Searcher to search our trap. And then we can set our trap. And then we can use the effect of Summary, shuffle back level 4 to get Starry Dragon number 2. So now we have 2 disruptions. We can use the effect of Ceremony to summon 1 and pop 1 card, and then use a trap to summon the other one. So we have 2 pops. And it's really consistent as well, because a lot of the spells and traps search your dragon, and then you even have a monster that searches the spells. So it's not hard at all to get the engine going, even for a free-to-play deck. And because this deck is from a mini box, you can play 2 copies of Starry Dragon pretty easily. So even without 3 copies of Rael or 3 copies of Balefire, this deck is still really consistent. I see some people play a balanced version of the deck, using the skill balance and then playing more traps. So they're guaranteed to open with spells and traps. But I think your deck is a lot consistent. It is already very consistent, so you don't really need balance. Do we use the effect now? I think we should, because otherwise he will just destroy my back row. Anyway, I think the deck is consistent enough to not use balance. You know what? I'll just let him, because he has a skill of a 1 and a 6. That means he can't summon his level 8 monsters. And even if he gets back his Orthros, that won't help, because now both of his skills are clogged. Oh, he's ending the main phase. We're gonna pop his back row. Special summon. Starry Dragon number 2. Let's go. And then it's not once per turn, so you can pop another one. Boom. And there goes his Dark Contract. And it seems like he's going to scoop. Yeah, this deck is pretty good for a free-to-play deck. Not many free-to-play decks actually can consistently make a lot of disruptions, and this deck can do that pretty easily. Necro Valley, okay. I don't even use my graveyard. It's fine if he has Necro Valley. Necro Valley Throne? Oh, he's playing Gravekeepers. We'll just pop his Necro Valley and his deck becomes useless. Or we can just pop his Flip Monster. That could work too. Up. Normal Summon Monster. That is when we immediately tribute and destroy his monster. We should probably destroy his Necro Valley. Yeah, we should destroy his Necro Valley. Because by destroying his Necro Valley, we also stop his counter trap. But yeah, he just immediately scoops. Okay, great.